drums have always been kind of like a therapy. It's a very emotional thing. As you're playing them, all these emotions come out in you. So it is a lot like therapy because your body's talking to something and that thing's talking back to you. And throughout this entire process of being a drummer, I've grown really fond of woodworking and different types of woods because those characteristics come through in your drums. Like different types of woods are gonna sound different, they're gonna react differently, they're gonna look different. So my passion for both drums and wood have come from just drums themselves. The most common thing I do for drummers would be bearing edges. A lot of other stuff I do would be like cutting relief cuts in bass drum hoops so they fit your skin properly and don't pinch anything. I've done a lot of re-wraps, so like taking old vintage drums that have like cracked and broken wraps, stripping that off, re-wrapping them. I've done a lot of retrofitting, so like taking a vintage drum that's got kind of a very unusable part on there and putting a more modern day part on there to make that drum a lot more functional. I've occasionally built drums for people as well, both with my own style of building, and then people have just brought me like, here's a bare drum shell and a whole bunch of parts, like, can you make this into something? The important thing about the bearing edge is always the relationship between that edge and how it meets the skin. I can change the characteristics of your drum basically by what I do to the profile of this edge. When I work on drums now, one thing I love doing, especially with local drummers, is if I'm working on their drum kit, I like to listen to albums that they've actually been on. So as I'm working on their drums, I'm listening to them, I'm trying to figure out what they need out of their instrument and give that to them at the end of the day.
What about that metal drum you were working on earlier?
Oh, you mean the thing I've been sitting on the whole time? We're here in the recording studio to see how this $100 kit that I worked on sounds. Just gotta give it a little tune first.
You couldn't tell me that this wasn't like a showroom drum set at some expensive store. Honestly, I'm in a studio. This sounds like it's on a Foo Fighters record to me. You can feel the depth of that kick, and also like it just feels like the spectrum of sound has gone from this, like in a demo crap drum set, to this in a studio using a drum set you found on Kijiji. It's incredible.